There is something special inside you.
Welcome to GNG Podcast with your host, speaker, best-selling author, Chaz Jackson.
Yo, what's going on, kings and queens? It's your boy Chaz Jackson coming back to you once again, representing GNG Gift and the Gift. Hey, I just personally want to take the time to tell each and every one of you, thank you for giving me your eyes and your ears once again. It's great to dive deep into some inspiration that I pray will plant like a seed in your mind and assist you in becoming a greater version of yourselves. So I'm excited about episode 19 is going down tonight. And you know what our motto is. We're all gifted differently to make a difference. And we have a powerhouse difference maker is going to come on, share some golden nuggets, some value for you to take and apply to your life right now. But before I do the short bio and introduce my man Freddy Jackson's in the house, I want to go over what the mission of this platform is, and it's to provide tips and techniques for young males as they strive to grow in personal development. And I challenge myself this daily, kings and queens. I want to challenge you to become a passionate visionary who is determined to leave a legacy for themselves by adopting unwavering life values and serving others in an area of gifting led by God. And I'm on fire about that. I'm passionate about that. I want you to take that daily challenge with me. Go ahead, before I read off this bio, get your pen, your paper. I'm telling you, you do not want to leave without getting that and taking care of that business right now, because again, we have a good show and set for you, going off the theme, love over ego. And let me read off this bio real quick. My man Freddy founded the LoveNoEgo group in 2016. He served as the foundation for pushing the human spirit into greatness. He delivers powerful and relevant motivational speeches, mentors, and conduct workshops for students and student athletes around the world. Freddy utilizes his principles of love over ego, love over fear, and communication over conflict to enable the youth to excel beyond their everyday pressures. His approach improves their overall awareness, promotes self-development, helps them to notice the ego, and gets them truly excited about living life. Students, youth advocates, teachers, parents, let me introduce my man, Freddy Jackson in the house. Freddy, you are live on GNG Livestream Podcast. Are you ready to get it, King?
Hey, bro, I'm ready, man. Like, man, what an introduction.
Hey, I don't need to find this. I don't need to find this for Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson. So I know that was short and sweet. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience that I might, didn't read off or missed?
Yeah, just a little bit. I came with the LoveNoEgo group back in 2016, and we became a nonprofit in 2018. That's why it's the LoveNoEgo Foundation right now. And, I always knew I wanted to go nonprofit and be about the community and beyond, like the world, and make it for us, not necessarily just an LLC type of deal or for profit. But so now we're that nonprofit foundation, man. We're reaching a lot of students. We're changing lives. Like we're inspiring, we're motivating, encouraging them how to live from that love space, that most natural space, and rise above the ego, man. At the end of the day, just rise above it and go beyond.
I love it. That's deep. Thank you for sharing that. And even going back to the beginning, Freddie, can you share with the audience a little bit more about your story? How did you get on fire to do the LoveNoEgo Foundation and to be able to influence other people to create phenomenal lives for themselves? So can you share your story on how you got to that part in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, man, I think I was living it before I even knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always kind of had this desire to, of course, like a lot of us, to be good, to be great, to find purpose, to find some type of meaning to my life. And, I'm a former college athlete. I have deep experience working with at-risk youth. I was raised in the church. My dad was like clubbing type of guy, club manager. My mom church. So I had like this, if you want to call it, best of both worlds type of thing going on. So, but that gave me some balance, and it made me pay attention to a lot of things. And, I only have one sibling, one older brother. He's 10 years older than me, like a whole decade. So when he was 20, I was like 10. And as a little brother, you just want to be with your big brother,
Right.
And so I couldn't always understand that dynamics, but I'm a former music artist, if you want to say former. I wrote a lot of songs. I produced a lot of music for myself as well as a lot of other cats in the industry. And I got to see that industry. And in a nutshell, I came to this epiphany of where I just didn't like the way we treat each other, as humans. I didn't like the sports, the whole business. I didn't like the music industry. It was just all ego driven. I just saw the ego being out front, and it was overriding the love space and why we got started with anything in the first place. Right? You like something, you love it, you become interested, you chase it. So I was like, man, we just need more love, less ego. Like it came to me. And then my own personal mistakes of how I was living for my ego. I'm a former college athlete. I think I'm going to be the man. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And, my relationships, like I see it now, when I talk about it, like, whoa, like, dude, I was really living in that ego space. So it just sparked me to make a difference and help other people get there a lot sooner than I did. Yeah, definitely. So, undergrad degree in radio broadcasting, master's in psychology, second master's in organizational development and leadership with a concentration in sport fitness and wellness management, certified personal trainer, all of those things, music, health, wellness, my mistakes, the upbringing, the life, like all of it just kind of catapulted into this, like, we need more love, less ego, because love is the greatest energy ever. And my thing is, like, we got to make it cool again, man. Like, love is it's like not seen as cool with the kids. It's like vulnerability is seen as like this weakness. Love is weak when the ego is strong, stick your chest out. But when you get out in life, man, and life starts, it just doesn't start to make sense and things doesn't add up. You become confused, and then we get into God knows what, depression, anxiety. Like we're living on that frequency, so it's coming if we're living on that frequency. So I was like, man, LoveNoEgo, that's it. And that was actually the last album that I wrote. It was titled LoveNoEgo some years ago.
I gotta go back and look. I gotta check that out. What was it? Well, I know you was a musical artist, but I haven't had the opportunity to listen to any of your tracks or anything. Was it hip hop, R&B? What was it?
It was me for me because I couldn't sing. It was hip hop, right? But I wrote a lot of R&B tracks. I produced a lot of different genres. I was just in love with it, and like I said, I was living it before I was going towards it before I even knew what it was. So my last album that I wrote was titled LoveNoEgo, but then I realized, and I had some great mentors, people in my life that kind of directed me to this path, and they say, yo, man, it's bigger than music. It's so saturated, like the industry is so saturated, like it's bigger than music, and you already have a connection with the youth. You're already speaking to youth. You're already inspiring the youth. Like, give them that message. Like, make it more intimate, more personal. So, voila, LoveNoEgo Foundation, and here we are, man. We're approaching 5 years, March 2021.
Dude, thank you so much for blessing the audience with a little bit more deep dive into what you're doing, your mission, what you're passionate about, sharing your story. And I took so much from what you said, and me paraphrasing, the love, no ego. When I think of ego, and working on renewing our mind and transferring back to love, I feel like humility or being humble is one of those things that kind of stick out, or a word that pops in my head. And John Maxwell, man, I love his work. I'm actually part of his team, and he said a definition of humility, and I feel like it was a good fit for kind of what we're sharing. But he says humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. So meaning knowing who Chaz Jackson is, knowing who Freddie Jackson. We might be family on the tree somewhere, man. I think I need to kick out that last name. I was like, man, Freddie, man. Let me get with Grandma and see if we got some people up there. No, but so not thinking less, not having confidence, but when we love, that means we're serving. I feel like we're put on this planet to serve in the area of gifting. That's my mission, man. That's the platform that we're building here on GNG podcast. It's serving in your area of gifting, and when we serve, that fruit or that ideal that you put on this planet to manifest or contribute to this planet, you can't help but to love in that situation, if that makes sense. So,
man, it's a beautiful thing, and I'm right there with you on all of that. Love is something that we are like born on, that frequency. We have it already. Like it's always available. It's always available. And I think the difficulty and the challenge of it all is like whether we access it or not, whether we become aware of like, wow, it is available. Like I do have this control. And like, you know what? I'm supposed to be confident, but it's a fine line between that confidence and ego. Fine line. Like when you start limiting yourself as a human being, you start hurting other people, you start limiting other people. Now you're becoming kind of egotistical. Like love is, you see me? Like I'm loving, man. Like I'm loving. Like that's a confidence. That's a natural humility that I have. And you have to have that. When you're thinking about that Maxwell phrase or quote. It's like you don't think of yourself less of yourself, but you think of yourself less. It's like, I'm confident because you got to have the confidence to do what you do, and that's there. But the second I start like stepping on Chad's toes just to get a little head of the game, I start stepping on this person's toes. I'm actually blocking the blessings and miracles that are naturally come to me.
Dude.
And you start living on that frequency, dude, like it's a wrap. Life becomes this thing that you see and you know the truth. Like you see the truth and you know it. And you're like, you know what? Like decision making becomes like a little bit easy. Like I don't have time for that. I don't go over there. I've been to that circus. I don't need to go over there. This is it. This is that love frequency, and everything else of the world just shows up. If you need money, guess what? It shows up. If you need resources, they show up. But you got to get there. My T-shirt says, "Love is freedom." Like you're free. That's the ultimate freedom. Ultimate. Can't nobody steal that joy. Can't nobody take it away from you. Nothing cannot steal it because no person or nothing ever gave it to you. So, man, it's just the truth. It just is what it is. You got it. If you're listening, boys, girls, whoever it is out there, like you already have it. You don't have to look for it in Balenciaga, shoes, whatever. All those things are tools. Like I'm from the country, right? I'm a country boy. Backwoods, playing on dirt courts. Like I had to take my mom's clothes off the line before I could play basketball because I would kick up so much dirt, and she wasn't having that dust in her sheets,
Right.
And dude, like that tool of basketball sports, I used that tool. I got to travel. This country boy, Balkan boy, got to travel around the world because I could dribble a basketball. You know how many blessings and relationships I built off of that. Priceless, man. Love. You got to get on that frequency all day, every day. Choose who and what you love. That's it.
Dude, my man's on fire. Love equals freedom. Hey, if you didn't listen to me earlier, got your pen and paper, go ahead and pause it. Go ahead and rewind it back. Get your paper, take that down. So that was deep. And even going into the next question. So, was there ever a point in your life where someone doubted what you was doing, or you was put in a situation where you wasn't wanting to pursue the LoveNoEgo Foundation and doing what you're doing right now? Was there any cases along that journey?
Oh yeah, all the time. There might be some tomorrow when I wake up, you
Mm,
know. But guess what? Like you do it anyway. Like you do it anyway. And I always go back to this love word and that foundation of that because there are going to be times, man, where people come at you. You can do good. I could drop 50 grand on a person today. Nobody
mm,
will hardly remember tomorrow.
mm,
You know, like we are living in this world where it's right now. It's right now. It's gimme, gimme, gimme. Get back, get back, get back. I got mine, get back. So you have to have a bigger reason for doing what you do other than applause, other than recognition. Like I like the trenches. I'm in the trenches with our mentees. I'm in the trenches with speaking at schools. I'm like in it because that's where my strength is. That's what I love.
mm,
And there are always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be something. But your focus determines where you're headed.
mm,
So if I focus on the naysayers, I'm going to end up where the naysayers are. I'm going to end up living on that frequency and I'm going to attract those things into my life. You have the power as a human being. Like we already have this intuition, this spirit. It's connected to the greater source. It's
mm,
connected to the universe. And once you do what you do and you make decisions and you come from the heart is the boss. Like the heart should attach to the mind and influence the mind. The mind says a lot of things. My mind says so many things. You would kick me off this podcast if I said some of the things that my mind thinks. you know,
mm.
but I'm human. But the heart is the boss. And if you can let the heart be the boss and you make decisions with that, you'll get to where you need to be because your heart's pure. Like it doesn't lie. How can it lie to you?
Mm,
The thing is, we get hurt. We experience things. We get somewhat defeated. And then, hey, maybe we have the feelings of revenge and getting even. And, oh, I got to do this. I have to do this. The peer pressure, the challenge, is the fear. You know what fear does. So, man, like you're always going to have those naysayers. And you have to be your biggest fan, but not in an egotistical way. Your purpose has to be grounded in a higher source than things of the world. Like, look at the world. It's a mess.
mm.
It's a mess. So what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it personally? Like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay in this conflict? We have three principles. We say love over ego, love over fear, communication over conflict. Chad, if we don't communicate, we're
Mm,
doomed. We're doomed.
I'm
Like
telling you.
we're born to communicate, man. Like we're born to communicate. So if you guys, whoever might be listening, I don't care how difficult it may be, communicate. Like talk about it. I don't care how difficult it might be, because you are now building your solid foundation to where no situation can really knock you off of that foundation,
Mm.
and you're going to get everything that's coming.
Dude, and dude, that's so deep. And I even think about Chaz Jackson before I even got to this point. I can remember even dating back to my childhood where, I think you kind of mentioned, well, you did mention earlier how, you know, talking about your feelings from, in a sense, is a sign of weakness. And well, that type of mental wiring is out there in the world. And for me, I grew up in that. I grew up saying, man, he don't share his feelings. He don't, communicate those avenues. And I created a bunch of emotional baggage off of that, through the traumas and dramas and, things people can get into a fight, get arrested the night before, and that morning, we sitting around the table eating breakfast like ain't nothing happening. Like the police just ran in the house, like just the little things like that. But it was just kind of brushed under the rug. But subconsciously, Chaz Jackson, he was holding on to that stuff, and because you are not communicating, because I didn't communicate, that bag got bigger and bigger. And because I had that mental wiring, I didn't allow anyone to look inside that bag. So for me, I used alcohol to kind of deal with the situation because I wasn't communicating. But it wasn't until I flipped that coin and understand communicating is not a source of weakness, but it's a source of strength. That communication and getting around good people. And I constantly say this a lot. I look at relationships like water. A relationship can either nourish you or it can drown you, right? So when we're thinking about communicating, that's nourishment, right? When we get closed off and isolated, like we're actually drowning ourselves and we're not living in our full potential. And I truly believe what you just said is so important, being focused and communicating. If you didn't take anything else from what this man says, I truly believe those two things are key for us to strive towards our greatest version of ourselves led by God. And it brings me into the next question. So after even sharing some of those things, Freddie, what do you feel like is some things that the youth is struggling with right now in 2020 that comes to mind?
Ooh, 2020. I think first and foremost is knowing what the truth is. And what I mean by that is, like, we're already given this truth. Like, okay, if we break it down, like if we really, really break it down to what the truth is, it's like, we have this universe, we have the galaxies, we have the cosmos, we have planets, we have land, and then we have everything else that's alive as far as animals, insects, humans, boom. Like that's like we're breathing because of that. Like the sun comes up every day on time. It's 8 billion people in the world. I bet half of them don't even notice that. Like the sun comes up every day on time. The earth spins, the sun comes up, and we are alive. We're breathing because of trees and air. And we are humans, and we are naturally connected to that. I mean, why do we love nature? Why do we play outside? Why do they build the scenic overlooks off of the highways and everybody pulls over and we're so attracted to it? Naturally. Nobody has to tell you go over there. You're like, oh, that's beautiful. Let's go. Right? like it's just that there alone, before you say, I love my shoes, I love basketball, I love whatever, you already have the intuition and the spirit to know what's true and what's real. And now we got the world. We made these cell phones we're talking on. We made the computer. We made the clothes we have on. We made shoes. And we made stores full of stuff. We got all this. And now we think that's reality. We think that's reality, and we live from them spaces. It's like, what do you mean, like, you the best hooper? What do you mean you a Democrat, Republican? Oh, you Buddhist. Oh, you Baptist. Oh, you Christian. You for real? Like, don't we all have the same goal here? So we got all these subcategories that really don't mean anything. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're black, it doesn't matter if you're white, it doesn't matter if you're Buddhist, if you're Baptist, if you're Christian. Yeah, I get it. We got these things and they're meant to be good, most of them. But if you let the ego come into it, and now, my blackness is better than your whiteness, and I cross my legs, and my Christianity is better than your this and this and this and that, we're always going to place a wall between us. And there's always going to be a difference. And for the most part, we as humans, we don't know how to handle that difference. And that ego destroys. All it does is block, limit communication, blocks blessings, keeps you fully away from everything that we are designed to be and do here on this earth. Like, think about that. Like, man, love is the greatest energy ever, period.
So that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Like, think about all this stuff. Like, think about all the stuff we have. Like, there's so many things we could argue over. We could all roll over. T-shirts, best computers, shoes, socks, candles, chairs. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes on and on and on, right? But we don't stop for a minute to think like, if all of those things disappear, what will we be left with? It'd be me and you sitting here trying to communicate and figure this thing out. That's it. That's it. And at the end of the day, you have to find your balance between your universal self, the real you, and all the stuff we made up on the outside. All that stuff. Like, find your balance there. Like, find your balance, man. Like, find your balance and know that, you know, I need to use those tools. Like basketball, sports, really great tools. Humans, we're geniuses, you know. Basketball, too. Man, like I got to travel the country. I got a free education. I built, priceless relationships. Like my homeboys just came down for my wedding last year. Like I met in college. Like this relationship, a couple of them were in it, you know? Like that's great stuff, you know? So let's use the tools for what they are. They're tools. And what do you do with tools? You tighten things up, build things up, you fix things. Sometimes you might need to tear something down, you know? So use the tools for what they are to better this. And once you step out into the world, you see it for what it is. It's just like, come on, y'all. Can we get it together? We're all human beings. We're all breathing. We're all alive. You know, you mean to tell me that your creator, our creator, whatever you believe in, you mean to tell me whoever created us said, let's do this. Okay, let's make Chaz, okay? And let's send him over there on this side of this land. Because even America is like, some people found some land, they put some taxation laws up against it and blah, 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 got greedy, I own this, you own that. Now, and put up trespassing signs, and guess what? You can go to jail if you cross it. You know what I'm saying? So think about it. So you mean to tell me your creator sent you there? Okay, then he sent, you know, he sent Susan over there and put her over there. And let's put her on that side of the land. Let's send Freddy over there and put him on this side of the land. Oh, let's go back to Chad. You know, even though you've been in the sun a little bit longer, your skin's a little bit dark. Let's make Chad skin darker. Let's make Susan a little bit lighter, and let's make Freddy in between them two. Nah. we did that, bro. Like we did that. Like humans did that. We come in there and we think we are smart and educated, and I always say sometimes the best thing is just to sit still and you'll see the truth. You don't have to be so educated and chase degrees and this and that. Like they're awesome, very knowledgeable and very well-grounded people who hasn't even graduated high school. It's about tapping into that natural space, and everything that you need shows up. I can tell you stories of just through money and blessings, financial stuff, material stuff comes, man. You chase the purpose, you chase the real meaning and why you're doing it. Everything else comes. Everything else comes.
Dude, it's just about, you know, in scripture it talks about how not to love by words of tongue, but with action and in truth. So getting into that truth space and taking action on it, you know, speaking into life. I mean, there's so much you can grasp and explore and understand and comprehend if you just take action and move forward on what, you know, God placed on your heart to do. And yeah, you might fail, but there's so many lessons in failure, right? And I mean, I know you failed many times. It's kind of like as a baby, you know, I got a 2-year-old, my baby girl, Mila, and, you know, I can remember when she was starting to walk, you know what I mean? It was like, if she get up, boom, she fall. She get right back up, boom, you know, but over time, as we become adults, we lose grasp of that. You know, I've learned so much, man, from my 5 and 2-year-old. Like, I mean, they're a university in themselves. Like, I've grown with patience, with, like I said, even going back to that little, you know, altercation with them trying to walk, you know, but they kept getting back up, and eventually they walked naturally, right? And going back to the adults.
Yeah.
we lose sight of that. If we fall, man, it's World War III, right? Oh man,
Yeah.
this ain't for me.
Yeah.
But and I'm speaking to myself right now. And this is something I had to renew my own mind on. Is like, look, what lessons are you learning during this adversity, rhythms university? And for me,
Hmm.
what am I learning in that situation? If I still
That's
got
it.
breath in my body, I can still get up, right? We can still push forward.
Yeah, that's it, bro. Like youth, man, and the kids, they teach you so much, man. And you saying like she got back up, like without question, not
Yeah.
no doubt about it. Get back up. You
Yeah,
know
you don't
what's
have to
funny?
tell her anything, for me,
Yeah,
it's like, like, let's do it again. Let's
yeah,
go pull up.
yeah. You know what's funny? It's like as kids, man, like we make kids like let me phrase this right. We upset kids. We have to help them for like basic survival skills, like don't stick your finger in the outlet, you know, and things, but we make them unhappy. They're having a good old time. They might be super somewhat disruptive, break some stuff, whatever, but they're having a good time.
Mm,
For the most part, 95% of the time, they're happy and we come and we make them unhappy. Something happens as we get to adults. Now we're unhappy and somebody
mm,
has to make us happy. It like flips.
mm,
So what I talk to the youth about, I'm like, look at that. Like, look at that. Like it may, I don't mean, I don't talk about anybody, anything, but I'm like, look at situations of adults. Like, look at the state of the world. Like we are very unhappy people.
mm.
But we have every single piece of convenience there is. Like, look at us. We're talking over some device.
Right.
We get in our cars. We turn our air conditioners on. We got a tank full of gas, refrigerator full of food, and we have all the conveniences in the world. And yet we are the most unhappy people.
Mm,
Like, what is like? Look at that. Like, look at that. And why is that so? Because
mm,
this is not right. This has to be right first. Like, man, I could be in a tent. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna have the time of my life.
mm.
I'm gonna
I
have the
like that.
time of my life because if I worry too much about the past, I learn from the mistakes. If I worry so much about the future, about a fear, about this might happen, the only time that is ever soaking up is now. And that's why my watch says right now. My watch says now. Because that's the time that it helps me focus in on like right now.
I like that.
It keeps me present. It keeps me locked in the moment. And then I've come to learn that if I do what I need to do today in the now, tomorrow's gonna be golden anyway. It's gonna be golden. And think about it, Chad, like human being, ing. We learned that back in grade school, dude. Like ing, the suffix. What is that? What's that mean? Talking, walking, running. It means action. It means now. It means present tense. Like human being. So if you just be for a second. Don't worry about peer pressure, the challenges, tomorrow, politics, Democrat, Republican, peers. Like just be.
Mm.
Love will take care of you, bro. It'll take care of you, man.
Just be, hey, and that actually take me into my next question. I mean, you already answered the question, but we'll see what else comes to mind. But the theme is love, no ego. Is there
Hmm.
is there another tip or technique that comes to mind to help equip the young male as far as in the scope of that theme, love, no ego, that kind of manifests on this planet?
Ooh, yeah, I could go a lot of ways with that. I get back. I always go back to. We do this with the mentees a lot. Um, During our first initial meeting after the initial consultation of meeting the mentee, the mom, and and laying out the structure and the curriculum of how this thing is going to go. We always talk about like knowing the truth, like where we come from. Like ego is in everything. music. We brag a lot. We brag a lot. We brag too much before we even have anything. You
Mm.
know, like know that truth about yourself and know like when you are placing judgment, if I can call it that, when you are placing judgment on different situations, whether you think it's positive judgment, whether it's negative judgment, when you place judgment on something or a person, only the judger has to pay the cost of what he's judging. If I'm judging you, Chad, right now, and I'm like, Chad has his podcast and he's in Asheville, blah, 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 blah. You probably don't even know I'm doing that. But
Mm.
I am holding on to that baggage, like you were saying earlier. I'm holding on to that. So who's paying the price for that? Not
Mm.
you. You're going about your business.
Right.
Me, the judger, I'm like, and now I'm comparing myself to this. I'm comparing everything. And man, when I can be loving and living on that frequency and just attracting and chasing goals, chasing interests, following the desires of my heart naturally, I could be attracting all those things into my life, but I'm sitting here and I'm limiting myself, potentially others, people who love me. I'm taking that energy to them,
Mm.
like, so I always come back to like question things, question everything, look at it, but question it in a way that it opens up your perspective and opens up your like it opens up your perception. Perception is just an idea of what you think it is. It's not necessarily the truth.
Mm.
It's not necessarily the truth. So be a human first before you be any other category. Like be human first before you be hooper, before you be musician, before you be boyfriend, before you be professional gamer. Be human first,
Mm.
and then you will use the tools for what they are. They're just tools. So we always come back to like know that truth because that's your foundation for success. That's your trampoline.
Mm. I like that. I like that. Killing the game, bringing massive knowledge. Hey, I truly appreciate you diving deep on that and kind of going into that truth. Love, no ego. I love the brand. I love what you're doing. And I know there's some young male teacher, youth advocate that's listening to you right now and saying, I want to learn more about this guy. I want to reach out to him. I want to be more in frequency with what he has going on. Is there any way you can share ways for the audience to reach out to you to be able to work with you and be able to, grow in your presence?
Yeah, absolutely. I always start with the website, LoveNoEgo.org, LoveNoEgo.org. We have free, like, online sessions going on right now. Free. Kids can go on, parents can go on, book a 30-minute session, as many as they like. And we connect with students, not just here in Charlottesville, Virginia, but a lot of places that I've been and I've spoke at schools and high schools and college campuses and whatnot across the country. We keep that connection with them. They're able to do virtually online sessions. They're able to do, we have a documentary thing going on right now, Love No COVID, where
I like that.
students can submit a video sharing, their challenges and how they're dealing with this whole pandemic and the times of our country. Um, and they can use the sessions for the free ones. They can use them however they choose to, because we're all certified personal trainers. For 90 out of the 15 team members that we have, about 10 of them are certified personal trainers and/or yoga teachers.
Mm.
So we encompass the whole overall wellness piece with them: motivational speaking, mentorship, workshop and events, and athletic training. That's our main things. And then we have some other little sub programs that kind of stem off of those. But I urge people go to the website, LoveNoEgo.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Love No Ego Foundation. I have my own little thing going too, Mr. Love No Ego. Follow both of those pages. We give away T-shirts. We do a lot of stuff, man, and we just want to connect with as many youth as possible. And even because our range is demographic is ages 10 to 24. So we started that middle schoolish, upper elementary-ish slot there and go all the way up to graduating college, maybe graduate school, because youth and young adults is who we are trying to influence and put this message on. So those seeds are planted, and years down the road, you know, they've been living this Love No Ego life, and they see the truth, and hopefully they can flip the world back to where it makes the universe, that little circle or foundation of success we talked about earlier, make that more relevant and more spoken of and more prominent than the things that of the world, you know. So go to the website, connect with us, follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn. We're all on there. We're everywhere. Just Google the Love No Ego Foundation, and everything will pop up, you know.
Boom. Hey, I just want to personally, Freddy, to say thank you so much for your time, your effort, your presence. You shared value. Just as I predicted and shared at the beginning, I know someone that's taken a tip or technique that they're going to take that daily challenge on applying to their lifestyle starting tonight as their being, like you shared earlier, man, and love equals freedom. Yeah. I love the love message. I love you getting people back in tune with themselves and just loving and sharing and growing in that area of gifting, man. That's what GNG is all about. Physically, I feel like we are a gift, but there is something inside that we're all here as human beings to contribute something. You know, there's only something that you are going to be able to do, Fred. There's only something that Chaz is only going to be able to do. And only you are going to be able to hit a certain amount of people that I'm unable to hit. So, and we're not each other's competition either, man. We're all gifted differently to make a difference, just like this model is. And again, man, I love what you're doing, and I look forward to growing with you and seeing what God has in store for you to continue to impact even more people in your area of gifting. So again, brother, salute to you. Thank you again for sharing and being with us today.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it. And if anybody's out there that's listening to this, if you send me an email, the first 3 people that send me an email at Freddy, Freddy, at LoveNoEgo.org, and give me a takeaway that you took from this podcast here, I will send you our original OG t-shirt, Love No Ego here, a t-shirt, and also a signed copy of the book, Love No Ego, Where You're Living From, that highlights all of those things we just talked about, helps you kind of solidify why you make the decisions that you do and how the ego may be influencing some of your decisions. I'll sign a copy and send it out to the first 3 people who send me some golden nuggets that they took away. We'll put in some other little swag items, Love No Ego stickers, and who knows what we might throw in there. We might throw in little tablet or something. Who knows?
I love it. Man, hey, do I count? Can I see you?
Hey, I'm gonna send you something anyway. For connecting with us, bro.
Hey, I love it, brother. I'm gonna lead us out real quick. I told you. I never lie. My man Freddy dropped some nuggets. Again, drop your comment, share this out. Let us know what you took from this talk. I thank you, each and every one of you, for giving me your ears. As we dived into episode 19. And I want you to stay up with GNG. More episodes coming soon. I want each and every one of you to be blessed. Remember this. Keep that crown on your heart. And we are God's echo. I love each and every one of you. Peace.
Thank you for listening to GNG Podcast. Remember, you are gifted differently to make a difference. Please visit ChazJacksonSpeaks.org and let's continue to grow together. God bless.